Good morning, everybody. It is, what is today? Tuesday, the 6th of June. Uh, just want to remind people everything is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, form your own opinions. Yeah, I'm a psychic clairvoyant, hear stuff, see stuff. This is all entertainment, and the full disclaimer's down in the box. If you want a reading, email me. I use the same handle on Twitter and T-Social. Yeah, just kind of like hanging in there today. Yesterday, I kind of recouped after a very hectic, long, busy weekend. So I was a slug. And I wanted to watch Tim Scott on The View, but I missed it. Something we do have to remember, it is D-Day. And a lot of people don't remember it or don't even know what it is. A lot of children don't. This is when the Allied powers it was a planned invasion onto the beaches of France, like Normandy. There was Utah, Omaha. I mean, it's basis for the movie The Longest Day and Saving Private Ryan and so forth. So a lot of youngsters don't remember what it is. And this is a family story that's been told on my mom's side for years. My grandmother's sister married this guy who was Irish. And I guess his brother actually was a lord who sat in Parliament. He sat in the, was an Irish lord who sat in government and all that nonsense. Well, it was June of 44, and she kept saying they woke up. I mean, they were here in Chicago, the Beverly neighborhood, if people know where that is. She said it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. She woke up and she heard a baby crying. And being my side, my maternal side is primarily Eastern European. My grandmother's sister had married this Irish guy, and he said, no, don't go looking, don't go looking. And she kept saying, she goes, but there's a baby out there, it's crying, I gotta go find out. Somebody left a baby on our doorstep. And he said, no, it's the banshee, it's the banshee. And she said, no, it's not. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna go and get that baby off the porch. This was around 2 a.m. June 6, 1944, 2 a.m. Chicago time, which would have made it roughly 8 a.m. in France. Well, they fussed and fussed till almost 3 a.m. And finally she said, I don't care what you're saying. I don't believe in this banshee nonsense. And she went downstairs and looked out, opened the door. The crying stopped, and there was nobody there. They were then notified that their oldest son, Joe, was wounded and died between 8 and 9 a.m. France time in France. The banshee was crying. She allowed the banshee into her house. And for years then, if she realized if she had never opened the door, her oldest son may have survived. I know, kind of creepy story, but things happen. That's my D-Day story. Now, the other thing everybody's having a fit about is that we're into June, and June has kind of been hijacked from remembering the brave men who stormed the beaches of Normandy into the alphabet soup month, Pride. Well, instead of congratulating all these alphabet soup characters, why don't we remember all the early victims of the HIV experiment? Yes, many, many men and women died an extremely horrible death because they were guinea pigs for a little WAPS experimental drug called AZT. So instead of having all these trannies trying to transform our children, why don't we have memorials for every person who passed away from HIV? And back in the 70s and 80s and up until the 90s, it was a common thing to put together a quilt for the people who died. So instead of having a transvestite party, why can't we have a memorial service where everybody can bring their quilts? And in the largest city parks, put them together and have a memorial service for everyone who died. I know if there's a memorial service for the victims of AZT and HIV, I'll be there. Let's turn Pride Month into Memorial Month for the victims of AZT. These young punks don't even know what it is. They think, oh, if you have HIV, all you have to do is take one pill a day. Wake up, kiddies. What if the FDA decides to take that medication off the market? Your T cells will disappear. Yeah. Think wisely, little ones. You might get what you wish for. But yes, instead of alphabet soups, let's remember those that we lost from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Over 20 years ago. A lot of them are not remembered. They're just hidden in the corner. So, forget this, let's change our children's gender nonsense to remembering those who died because of a terrible experiment run by the government. Yeah, HIV and AZT was the big experiment by the pharmaceutical companies back in the 80s and 90s. And the 2020s will be remembered for the experiment, the flu experiment. And all the people that got the liquid, how many are now sterile? I mean, back in the early 60s, they played games with thalidomide. 80s and 90s AZT. 2020s. 19th version of the C-flu and the liquid to combat it. Do you see a pattern, folks? Every 20 years or so? Late 50s, early 60s, jump forward 60s to 80s. It's 20 years. Went through the 90s, now we're in the 2020s, about 20 odd years later. What is going to be the global experiment when we hit the 2040s, 2050s? Reminds me of that song from Zager and Evans. I don't want to say the name, but I think many of you can find it. It's you can find it on YouTube Music. Take a listen to it. In the year 2020, 30-30, 40-40. Very prophetic. And It's, yeah, people who say the truth and go out there and blow the whistles. We're the ones that are told, we're the ones that are criticized and said, oh, they're nuts, they know nothing. Remember the story of the emperor's new clothes? Little boy? Everybody else was sucking up to the emperor, but it was the child who told the truth. Yeah, I'm not afraid. I have nothing to lose. They took it all. What can they do? Garnish my disability check? Not happening, folks. Not happening. Something else that's hit the news, they're not making a big deal out of it, but something around the Crimea, Russian blue and yellow flag country, there was a big dam and reservoir. It was a hydroelectric plant. And that reservoir and area also worked as a cooling station for a nuclear power plant. Well, the dam got blown. Everyone's saying it was the other person. Just like that pipeline. That underwater pipeline. My opinion, it's all going to be traced back to the JoJo Club. That's what it is. You have the certain people who have their big meetings and out in the California forest, a small area in Switzerland. They rigged the job interview of 2020. So all these weird explosions. It's the JoJo Club. That's what I'm getting. Okay, that's number 4. Yeah, actually, the White House is finally talking about the fact, and it wasn't that little black chick who stumbles across her words. It was actually this other guy, John Kirby. And he's the one who made the statement, yeah, about the Big Red Sea playing chicken in the Straits of Taiwan. Yeah, what is it? Her name is Corinne Jean-Pierre, something like that. Yeah, little chickie poo. Doesn't know her butt from a hole in the ground. Had to get a white guy to say the truth. John Kirby, yes. He's the one who said it. And now all of a sudden it's quiet in the news, but I found the little blurb. It was on a European news outlet that made the announcement that this guy, excuse me, Robert Hansen, he was caught and convicted. He used to work for the FBI. Robert Hansen, he worked for the FBI, but he was also taken in. He was basically had his feet in both sides. He was also a Soviet spy. He's been found, I guess, like he's passed over the Rainbow Bridge in his prison cell. So they did like a Jeffrey Miami guy incident on him. Yeah, he's probably in the same place holding pen as the Miami dude who has all the shit on in his diaries on the current idiots out there. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, Robert Hansen, the spy that was caught, is hanging out with Jeffrey E. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Now, where's my next thing? Okay. Yeah, somebody Yeah, I saw something, one of the other commentators, creators, they were, anybody who watched the thing on the Jordanian wedding, I mean, to me, it was obvious when they got into the white Range Rover, boom, as they were parading down the street, that was a Jordanian flag. Totally obvious. I mean, I hit it. And that creator was surprised that they had bagpipes going. I'm like, well, hey, if you want to kind of learn some Middle Eastern history, maybe you ought to watch Lawrence of Arabia. It kind of gives uh it gives some background on the British in the Middle East. Okay, it's kind of glorified, but it gives some rough elements. And the fact that for centuries, the use of horns, drums, bagpipes have always been used by the military up until, I would say, the 1940s to relay information from behind the lines to the front line. Drums, certain drum beats, horns, the way they are blown are certain signals, bagpipes. I mean, you can hear a bagpipe over a lot of stuff. So horns and bagpipes and bugles and drums have always been used to give out military commands in battle, because you can't shout, you can't talk to say, hey, left flank do this, right flank do that, stand, retreat. No, but the noise of a drum, a horn, a bagpipe can be heard over the sounds of battle. So they've been used for thousands of years. Okay? So seeing bagpipes in a Jordanian color guard, no big news. Because they were brought in back at the basic turn of the last century, 1900s, early, so forth, during World War I era. Now, people are now making speculations. They're seeing Lady Louise at certain things. Lady Louise Wessex. I have a really good suspicion that her cousin William said, hey, go to college, go to uni, enjoy it. While you're up there, you're just Lady Louise Wessex, and enjoy it. Study. Enjoy the time. When you graduate, that's when you make the decision. Because I'm not sure of what her field of study is. But like William, he went from art history. He wasn't too happy with it. So then he switched to geography. Geography is a great subject for a future leader, future monarch to know, to study. So he's familiar with the Commonwealth countries. So we'll see what Louise graduates with her degrees in. And then it will not surprise me when, upon graduation, that's when she takes the title of princess. And the charities that she will now become the patron of are the charities that were of her topic of study. Let her be a college kid. Don't start forcing stuff onto her. Now, the other thing that I noticed was that the York family outflanked the Sussex crew. Yeah, Eugenie and Jack, little Ernest George Ronnie, showed up on the 30th, but they withheld the information till what, June 4th? Invisibit's, the supposed female child's birthday? Guess Rachel's gnashing her teeth at that one because someone outflanked her, outfoxed her. Yeah, they got her. They got her on that one. Sarah, face it, Sarah knows how the gray suits work. So does Andrew. They just outfoxed Rachel, which I'm laughing about. Now, of course, we're before filming this, there's been so much. I'm like 6 hours behind. So there's been all the stuff pertaining to Henry and the court case of the phone hacking stuff. Now, he did get scolded by the judge because he was supposed to be there on Monday, but of course he had too much. He was suffering jet lag. Yeah, 2-year-old doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know the date. He could have gotten his butt there ahead of time, but no, I guess Henry basically had to wait for when there was a private jet able to be loaned to him. Now, some stuff is coming up. Yeah, the judge kind of ripped Henry a new butthole. And, yeah, we're all over the internet right now as I'm filming. People are commenting because it's, what, 8 o'clock now in Chicago, so it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like 3 o'clock. 2, 3. Yeah, it's afternoon in the UK, so stuff is coming out about what's going on in the courtrooms. And so Fiona's going to be on. Fiona, this is after the fact. I know other people will have live streams, like Avid Gardener. So if you missed her live stream today, watch the replay because I know she's covering a lot on Henry and can explain a lot of it. Now, something that's come out is the Miami guy who had the suspicious trip over the Rainbow Bridge. Things are coming out now that he supposedly had an STD. And possibly the STD was spread to a lot of females. Now, this STD that he had really doesn't have any symptoms. And if women don't get it, don't find out about it soon enough, and don't have it taken care of, their baby making days are over and done with. I hope people can connect the dots like I have. I mean, I can't say this, make this statement, but I hope people are able to connect the dots because supposedly Miami guy gave this STD to some people who are known as yacht girls. And I think that's the real reason why someone can't bear children. It was undetected for such a long time that having a child was no longer feasible. Now, something else that I kind of noticed, that whenever someone in a high profile has to go to court, usually their wives are right there supporting them. I don't know how many of you remember the big John DeLorean trial, but his wife, actress Christina Ferrari, was with him, was there every single day. And another actress, you will remember her as the TV Wonder Woman, Linda Carter. Her husband had some legal issues. Linda was sitting there at the trial every single day. So that surprises me. Why isn't Rachel? She's a Hollywood actress. Why isn't she there with her husband at this trial in London supporting him? Why isn't she sitting right behind him? Every other Hollywood actress whose husband has had to have a legal battle, they support their husbands, but I guess she doesn't want to follow the Hollywood norm. So, yeah, kind of unusual. And speaking of Hollywood, We all know the Writers Guild is on strike. Well, there's rumors that there's also the Directors Guild, the DGA. They're in negotiations, and supposedly they came to a contract agreement. But the next group that may be going out on strike is the Screen Actors Guild. Well, I have my own personal beef with the Screen Actors Guild. Because a couple contracts ago, the producers said, oh, we no longer want to pay royalties for anything produced prior to 1974. And the stupid youngsters in the Screen Actors Guild, the young ones, said, okay, they agreed to it. They neglected to think there's an old age home out in California for actors and actresses and production people who are now in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. Well, all their work was done prior to 1974, which is now being re-released out on these vintage TV channels. And you know what? None of them are getting a royalty check for all of that. They're being movies from the 1930s, 40s, 50s are sold in compilations. Yeah, the people that own the copyright, studios and so forth, they're making money. But the actresses, the actors in those movies are not making any royalties on it. And they're in their 80s and 90s, and they're scraping by on Social Security. But they're not getting any residuals. And now the new contracts are going up because I guess somebody bitched loud enough at these idiots saying, hey, because they're now having to have tons of fundraisers because the younger punks agreed to, their child actors who did stuff in the 60s and 70s, who should be getting residual payments, who did commercials and stuff. Hey, I did a couple toy commercials back in 70, 71. Those retro commercials are being shown on TV. I should be getting residuals, but because they were filmed before 74, I don't see a dime, thanks to these stupid idiots. Well, now the stupid idiots are having a fit because computer-generated stuff, internet, AI, they want to be paid for all the new stuff that their image is being put on. So yeah, actors may go out on strike. So people, you're going to be stuck watching a lot of old stuff. So start doing some history, start watching the old movies, and you know what? Go visit the library, read a book. Yeah, okay, that's my rant for today. Like I said, it's, yeah, it's Tuesday the 6th, D-Day. Take a minute, remember the guys that we lost to storming the beaches of Normandy. It's Pride Month. Remember the people who died of HIV, of AZT poisoning. So, yeah, I'll be talking to you on Thursday the 8th. And I hope everybody has a good one. Thank you for watching, listening. If you want to leave a comment, go for it. If you're new to the channel, click the red boots to subscribe. My videos come out every other day, 4:30 in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. Second and fourth Saturdays of the month, I do a live broadcast where people are more than welcome to come on board and talk. And that's 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time. So everyone have a nice one. It's supposed to be a beautiful day, so as soon as this uploads, I'm going out for a power walk, and then I'll be watching Fiona. Everyone have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye.